4:45 p.m., we again advised the suspect of his rights. He freely confessed to breaking into the Continental Studios. He admitted stealing pictures and posters from several movie theaters over the past several weeks, but he kept insisting that the Crimson Crusader was his true name.
How much longer are you going to detain me here?
How much longer are you going to insist your name is the Crimson Crusader?
My name is the Crimson Crusader.
Now, let me see if I've got this straight, fella. Your family name is Crusader, and your parents named you Crimson. Is that what you're trying to sell us?
Come on, what's your real name?
You know I can't tell you that. You gentlemen more than anyone should realize I can't disclose my true identity.
And what's that?
Can't you tell?
Tell what?
I'm on your side.
Is that so?
Of course. Because it would destroy my effectiveness as a crime fighter if my true identity were known.
Come again?
We're on the same side. I'm a crime fighter, but it's essential that the underworld not know my everyday identity. You wouldn't expect Captain Lightning or Commander Jupiter to disclose their identities, would you? Why do you insist on the Crimson Crusader doing it?
All right, now you've had your fun, Mr. Crusader. Understand this. We didn't bring you down here to compare notes. You're a thief and you're under arrest. Now let's have your name.
Very well. And I want you to realize that you'll be the only policeman in this city who will know my real name. I'm putting you on your honor. No one else in this whole world knows the Crimson Crusader's true identity. There are gangland bosses who'd pay a fortune to know what I'm about to tell you. I want you to swear now. I want your word of honor.
Here's the word, fella. We want your name and we want it right now, or we'll let you sit for a few hours until you feel like pulling it up.
Stanley Stover.
What's that?
If you'd give me a pencil and paper, I'd prefer writing it down rather than to shout it.
Why don't you just spell it?
Capital S-T-A-N-L-E-Y. Capital S-T-O-V-E-R. Now, don't repeat it, please.
How old are you, Stanley?
Softly, please. I'm 23.
Why did you steal all those pictures and posters?
I didn't steal them. I'm a collector.
We call it stealing. You broke into a movie studio, a bookstore, you damaged half a dozen theaters. Now, is that your idea of fighting crime, Stanley?
I'd be willing to pay the damages. I could save up and pay them off. Or I could go to work for the theaters.
What do you mean, go to work for them?
Well, I'd give them protection. There'd be very little crime around those theaters with the Crimson Crusader on the job.
Why did you steal all those things?
I'm a collector.
Stanley, you've got to understand you're in trouble. We want straight answers. We want to know why you've been stealing all of this Captain Lightning stuff. What makes it so important that you were willing to risk jail for it?
I wanted them. They were important to me.
Why only comic strip heroes? How come you only collected their pictures?
Because they're great men. They can fly and walk through walls, and nothing can hurt them, nothing.
And do you want to walk through walls and fly?
Nothing can hurt them. And when I'm the Crimson Crusader, I'm one of them. And nothing can hurt me.
And when you're Stanley Stover?
Then everything hurts. What am I? Look at me. I'm a short, ugly guy. When I put on the uniform of the Crimson Crusader, I wasn't Stanley Stover anymore. I was 10 feet tall. I had muscles of steel. There wasn't anything I couldn't do. Taking those pictures didn't seem wrong. Captain Lightning, Wizard Boy, Super Flame, they weren't just my heroes. They were friends. And having their pictures no one else had, it made me feel closer to them. It didn't seem wrong. I didn't hurt anyone. I never hurt anybody.
How long have you been stealing pictures and posters?
They started when I was a kid. 10, maybe 11. Not too often, just once in a while. Just in the last month or so, though, I couldn't control myself anymore. I really admired those supermen. I always went to their movies and bought their comic books. It was my whole life. Nothing else seemed very real or important. Just them.
What about your parents?
I never knew my father. He left home when I was a baby. It's just me and my mother. She supported me and gave me money. But we didn't have much. I remember being on county relief. My mother figured I bought all this stuff or traded it with other kids, I guess, like a hobby.
You never heard from your father?
No, he left after I was born.
And how old were you?
A year, but I guess he didn't like me very much. It was awful as a kid being the only one in class without a father. Maybe if I'd been tall and strong and good athlete, that wouldn't have mattered so much. But I was always fatso and butterball to the other kids. They'd beat me up and throw my books in a garbage can. It wasn't the pain I couldn't bear. Even when they punched me in the stomach, it wasn't the pain that made me cry. What made me cry is that I hadn't done anything to anyone, and yet everyone hated me. Why should anyone hate a kid just because he's fat